right. So good afternoon, everybody. Namaskar. My name is Aditya, and I will be talking to you about mobile app development, mobile, and after that we will talk to you about IoT, and Pankaj Rana will be talking to you about IoT. Right. Let me just share my screen. Are you able to see my screen? All well?
Yes.
All right, all well. All right. So, okay. Now, this course, which is there about mobile app development, it is a course which is meant for people starting at any level. Uh, Fortunately for us, there are some software packages जिससे कि हम without coding, without knowing the actual, writing down actual full code, you can develop an app. Now, without coding does not mean that you have no idea about programming at all. थोड़ा idea programming का चाहिए, चाहे आपने किसी भी language में किया हो. Any language you might have done, it doesn't matter. So if you have done in C or in Python or anything you have done, as long as you have some idea what programming is, how it works, what is a computer, uh, and how do we program computers to do things, that basic knowledge is required. But for developing an app with our course, with the platform that we'll be teaching you on, you do not need to do actual coding out there. And I'll tell you what is the difference as we go down the line. So, why do you need mobile apps? So it's very important to understand that the app is something which makes your smartphone very, very useful. It makes it smarter. Without any app at all, suppose you had zero app, आपने app वो अपना phone खरीदा, you can make calls, you can do some things with it, you can take photographs, but without an app, there's really very little you can do with a smartphone. Today your smartphone, which is here, is we are using it for so many things, and all of those things are very, very important to us, whether it is measuring our health, whether it is communicating with somebody, things like WhatsApp and so many other apps which you see on there, on the on the on the store, right? So mobile computing. So pehle computer, the big thing, it used to be as big when I was in college. So I studied from IIT Delhi. So when I was in college, the computer used to be huge and almost as big as 2 or 3 rooms or 4 rooms. And now, of course, computers are very small. They've come like you have a laptop, you have a tablet, and so on and so forth. But mobile computing has really put a lot of power in our hands. So in everybody's hands, you can do so many things just by having a mobile phone. So what does an app help you to do? Absolutely, it is uh, collecting data and doing things with the data. So one thing to understand is if you have done any programming, it is not only a program. App is not a program. एक program बनाया और वो चल गया. It is a complete software solution because humans have to interact with it. Inputs have to be taken from the screen uh, and all through voice. Sometimes inputs have to be taken through sensors, and all of that has to be put in and give a solution to you, which is there, right? I hope my voice is clear and everybody can hear what I'm saying. If it isn't, please say so because I can't see the chat on the things. So there's a lot of chat.
Yes, so you are clearly audible.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we will be looking at. Okay. Okay. Now, having understood what an app is, there are 5 different types of mobile apps from the point of view of applications. from point of applying. So they can be lifestyle apps, the utility apps to manage your phone itself. Phone में का memory को manage करना है, and so on and so forth, or checking out what photographs, how much memory of photographs you have, how to clean up the things, or how to archive some photographs. Those are all called utility apps. Lifestyle is all about things like measuring your footsteps, measuring your health parameters, and so on and so forth. Navigation apps, most popular, of course, is your Google Maps, by which you can navigate from here to wherever. And in addition, there are other navigation apps as well. You have a lot of apps which give you information. Can be news, can be this thing. You have science-based apps, which I'll put out here also. So you might have app of say periodic table. You might have app of astronomy. So stars में आज के date में from Kathmandu, what are the stars visible in your place? You can see on a astronomy app. And then there are lots of business apps. So business apps are all for shopping, for many other applications, for even doing business or managing businesses, raising invoice, raising a bill, keeping track of whatever you have spent or whatever you are supposed to get. Right. So this is the top 5 types of this thing. Now, a little bit into a more technical thing. So we have what is known as a native app. Native app means that जो भी हो रहा है phone के अंदर हो रहा है, right? Whatever is happening inside the phone. So you have got say photograph is taken, the camera is inside the phone, it's taken a photograph. That photograph has to be touched up or edited, or that is something like a native app. Now, then you have web applications. So where the use of the internet or use of the cloud is required. So you might need to, store. So WhatsApp, for example, is definitely a thing. And then you have hybrid apps which use some computing from the phone, some computing from the web. Okay. So there is, in terms of distribution, actually most of the apps happen to be mostly hybrid apps, because now in the present day apps are mostly hybrid. Earlier mostly used to be native apps, but now it is. So this is how the usage of this, how much people, how much, if you have a phone, how much time does a person spend on this thing? And you can see the overwhelming amount is spent on games and social networking, then on entertainment, utilities, productivity, which includes education, health and fitness, and they've separated lifestyle, which is about diet and food and other things. And then there are other apps which might be there. So a very small amount of time is spent by people on apps for things like learning, right? Though even though it's a very powerful thing to learn, and this of course is all pre-pandemic data. During the pandemic, now things have changed. So people have started using more time because they have to use for their businesses. They have to use sometimes to learn things. So therefore, this would have changed. But by and large, this is how it is there. Now, a lot of people make apps. If you talk to anyone, सब बोले हमने तो ऐप बनाया है, हमने ऐप बनाया है, और वो हमने वहाँ पे ऐप बना दिया है. Apps are broadly fine. If you look at them, there are different categories of apps. So the most widely made kind of apps are copycats. So somebody ने ये एक वो बनाया, some thing to access, for example, your location and tie it to your bank location. एक वो ऐप बनाया, किसी और ने किसी और नाम से वही ऐप बना दिया. Maybe the code is slightly different, maybe some application is slightly different, but from the user point of view, they are all copies. So if you go to your Play Store and sort of search for any particular type of app that you want, you'll find lots of answers coming out. And all those lots of answers, some of them are very good, some of them are very childish. So some people just make childish apps. just for the fun of it, which is all right. You might make an app only for the fun of it. Some people make apps which have got no use. So uh, supposing I want to make an app to tell me where I am, unless it's a very I'm a kind of a lost person, then it makes no sense, right? Then there are a number of apps which are useful and usable for a small section of people, not the whole world, not very this thing, but small section. Let's say for tourists coming to to Kathmandu, so you might make a thing which is useful, uh, which is there, and that's not bad. That's good. Then you might have limited use and limited use. So really, that's a smaller part, but people that's really falls in part of the childish thing, where limited use hai, only people in your school can use it, or only people in your society can use it. I mean, in your housing society can use it, for example. तो वो एक limited use हो गया, and usually they are not very technically perfect because it's a very small audience. People know each other, कि थोड़ा सा error भी होगा, हाँ समझ जाएंगे क्या है. Uh, and then there are apps which are made for a very large section of people. They are very useful, they are very usable, and that is what is there. So when we start making apps in this course, what we'll do is we'll start with very basic apps. So we'll start with the useless category. छोटा सा है, एक बी को बज कराना है ना, एक बी है उसको बज कराना है, पॉइंट करेंगे वो बज करेगा. That's all. Why is that there? Because you are learning the program. As a student, you are making it. So you're learning how to use the interface. So we will be making a lot of childish or useless apps, but that does not mean that you not have the idea of how to make good apps. Okay. Okay. So what will this course enable you to do? It will enable you to make apps, mostly Android apps. You can make apps of any complexity with reasonable graphics. तो बहुत ज़्यादा हाई एंड ग्राफिक्स में इसमें आप कर पाएंगे, लेकिन थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होगा. You can interface with the web, with IoT, and with all the sensors which are in your phone. All kinds of sensors, each and every sensor which is in your phone, you are able to use the data of the phone. So there are lots and lots of sensors, including things like GPS, things like movement, magnetometer, and so many other things are there in the sensors are already built into your phone. You will be able to test the apps. So you'll be able to test it, how good it is. Robustness means kitna acha hai, how does it fail? Supposing 200 people log in, does it fail, crash? So at least you'll be able to test for that. You'll be able to make and do all these kind of things, which can be developed if you want to say you have crossed this limit. Let us say you have made an app which is very good, useful for a very large section. Now you want to make it into something, you want to make it something really professional. Then we have to go to a different platform to learn, which is expensive also, and which needs a lot of other resource to do. But this will help you to test all these apps, to develop the apps up to some extent. Okay. So it's very clear to understand this course will not make you a professional app developer. अगर आप सोचते हैं कि ये कोर्स करने के बाद में आप बहुत बड़ा कोई प्रोफेशनल ऐप बना लेंगे, या कुछ आपके पास उतना नॉलेज होगा बनाने के लिए, उतना नॉलेज होगा टेस्ट करने के लिए, लेकिन प्रोफेशनल ऐप का डेवलपमेंट प्लेटफॉर्म्स का वी विल गिव यू सम स्मॉल एक्सपोजर. सो वी विल टेल यू, लेट्स से व्हाट इज Zoho is one of the most popular app development sites, but it's very expensive. It's you have to pay dollars per month, and of course SDKs means the software development kits are available. They're available free of cost, but in order to be able to do that, you have to be really a good, for example, a good Java programmer. So unless you know Java very well, just taking the SDK and using it is difficult. Right? And usually when apps are developed, it's developed by a team. So there are other teams. High level testing, that means say testing on 1 million users. No, this course will not enable you to do that. Debugging after testing the thing कि वो fail हो रहा है, तो debugging कैसे करना है 1 million users पे या 10,000 users पे, you will get an idea. But there are some debugging tools which are very specific to the app industry. Those are the tools which are not going to be part of this course, because again that requires high-end knowledge of software development cycles. It requires high-end knowledge of programming, particularly in Java, and testing and debugging. Right? So ये एक specialized job होता है. So this course will not enable you to do this. It will enable you to do a lot of other things, make apps, test them out, make apps which are there for a community, make apps which are there for a limited use. So for example, you want to make an app which should enable a tourist in Kathmandu to find this a certain category of things. Yes, you can make it on whatever we teach you, but not it will not enable you to do everything. Right? So this is the course structure which is there. We will give an introduction to the platform, which is the platform which will be used is called MIT App Inventor. Okay, it's App Inventor 2. It is developed by MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. It's a free platform. What you need for this is a smartphone, right? Normally आप just laptop पे कर सकते हैं. There is a thing called emulator. You can use an emulator also, but in our experience, we have found the emulator to be highly unreliable. There are a lot of safety things which come in. Windows will block it, वो हो जाएगा. So it's not very this thing. Best thing is to have a companion. This is called a companion, usually having a phone. So most people have a phone, or you'll have to need access to a phone in order to be doing this course. Okay. So the second module is about making basic apps. So about 2 or 3 apps, basic apps will be there. In the intro to the platform also, you'll make an app. छोटा सा ऐप बनाएंगे आप. Everything is hands on. सारा कुछ आपको बनाना है. आप बनाएंगे, हम सिखाएंगे, आप बनाएंगे. Right? Everything will be made by you only, because by making only you will learn. Then you'll get elements of the canvas. Canvas is what comes in front on your screen, which comes in. What to put on that canvas, how to do that, how to link sensors, with that. This is in App Inventor 2. Then we will try to make a musical instrument app with graphics. So some graphics will teach you a little bit about how to make graphics using a platform called Canva. Okay. Some of you might have already used Canva. It is very popularly used for building up in websites or in social media marketing or digital marketing. But we will teach you that so that you can take images from there, mix them up, and put them on your app, and so on and so forth. Then we'll have a tutorial exercise in which we will walk you through how to connect to the cloud, to various sensors, and how to harvest that data. How the data आपका आ रहा है, how to harvest it and how to use it. In the 6th module, you will make a comprehensive, based on what you learned in tutorial, you will make a comprehensive educational app. Okay, not a childish app, not a this thing app, but an educational app usable by students of your age or higher age or lower age or whatever you think. And after that, there's a project in which you build your own app. So you have to make your own app, and that is how it is there. So this whole thing is consisting of 7 sessions, 7 modules. There are 30 sessions. This is the basic course. The outcome is you will be able to make web, sensor, and multi-screen app. Multi-screen app means app में screen आप change कर सकते हैं, right? तो थोड़ा सा उसमें introduction देंगे, and that is there. In the advanced session, where there are only 20 sessions, 3 modules, here we will develop more multi-screen apps, and then we will see how to interface artificial intelligence with your building with your app. Okay, right? Using the same platform is the same, but how to use AI in this, that is going to be there. And lastly, we will also look at assistive app. क्या होता है कि you are making an app for somebody who's lacking something. Say he's not got good vision अच्छा नहीं है, तो उसके लिए आप एक ऐप बना रहे हैं, so that's called an assistive app. Or you're making an app for somebody who's new to the city and who wants to find out. Of course, Google Maps is there, but sometimes many features are missing in Google Maps. So how to do that? How to have a unique experience if you're coming in as a tourist? And then there are health-based apps. So health-based apps, you can take data using the sensors on your phone and map them up and see in what kind of health you are, uh, what are your parameters, how much steps you took, and so on and so forth. Okay. So I will stop this and I will go to. I'll just share my screen again, I think, because. Okay, so this is how the platform looks like. Okay, this is what is known as the as the designer screen. So here you're designing things. यहाँ पे आप डिजाइन कर रहे हैं, डिजाइन करके आप बता रहे हैं. तो इसमें क्या होता है, आपको various kinds of things are there. This is the whole thing is about user interface, right? And if I scroll down, then I can change the layout. Now this is some particular layout, I can change the layout. If I look at media, for instance, whether there's a camera or an image, so you might, आपका गैलरी में बहुत सारी images हैं, वो सारा images आपको कोई pick करना है, you have to pick some image from the gallery, you can do that, you can have sound and so on and so forth. And similarly, you have text to speech and so on and so forth. You also have a translator. So the translator is a little limited. It's called a Yandex translator, so it can translate into different languages. So that is also there. You can build it into your app. You can do lots of drawing and animation. You can have and this is where the canvas thing comes in. There are, so map is not a normal map, but building anything that you want to build, some kind of graphics. Okay, let me look at storage. So you can have a direct storage. So TinyDB is a tiny database which is created in your phone itself. Okay, cloud database is something which is created on the cloud. A tiny web database is a small database created on the web. So ये सारा चीज इसमें है, and file, of course, I'm sure you understand what is a file, and that is how the thing is. Okay. So in the social thing, you can have interlinking to email, to picking a particular number. So you wanted to pick a number and then do something, and so on and so forth. You want to do some sharing, you want to do some texting. And so far, Twitter is included. WhatsApp is not included in this, but Twitter is there. So you can interface with your Twitter account or interface with anyone's Twitter account. They can, sort of do things which are there. Okay. So these are all the things. So this is what is known as the canvas, right? Now, where does the programming happen? यहाँ जो आपका designer है, designer में you choose what you want to do. So, for example, I want to put this in center, or I choose this, for example. So everything changes out here. I can keep on changing this, and it will do this. So what is this particular thing? What this label is? All of these I can keep changing as I wish. So label 1, label 2, and these are things that when you actually do it, that's when it is going to be there. Right? So. Now this is the second part of the thing where there are blocks. So here, just as you have in any program, you have control blocks, right? Which is there all over. You have got logic blocks. You have got mathematical blocks which enable you to do mathematical, you know, uh, sort of operations, text lists, dictionaries, colors, and so on and so forth, right? So this is all ways of storing data, handling data, and getting. Remember that in an app, whatever you might say, though it is very powerful, but at the same time, it is not something which is, there. And I'll try and show you. Let me just try and show you. So when you start working with your thing, I don't know if you can see this. Uh, you will install what is known as the companion. So this companion app will get installed in your computer, in your mobile phone. So whenever I want to upload something, I can scan a QR code from my computer, and the app will get uploaded here. Or I can download the APK. So APK is the package. So that package gets, the Android package gets installed in your computer. You can take it and then install it in your phone. Okay. So uh, there are lots of other things that are there, and let me see if I can show you one which is. So let me see. I've installed that app. So this is an app, for example, which uses AI. So here what it does is it takes my camera, and it will learn that. So I will have to teach it moves. So I can teach it dance moves, and then when it will recognize that, okay, these are valid dance moves, these are not valid dance moves. Now similar kind of things can be used for example, yoga posture. So if you're doing yoga and you have taught the AI that these are good yoga postures, these are bad yoga postures, then it can you can sort of figure out how this is right. So programs can be very very simple. Programs can be fairly complicated also. It's not that the programs are. It depends on the program. There is every facility for you to create a good app using this, right? Uh, it might look that we are just using blocks and not using coding. Some people are coding में ज़्यादा होता है. हाँ, coding में कुछ चीज़ ज़्यादा होता है, which I told you, some things which you will not be able to do, like actually modifying some of the backend, facilities in the phone. That you can do only if you have the SDK. SDK आपके पास है तो आप Android के background में जाके कुछ कर सकते हैं. इसमें नहीं कर सकते हैं. This is working on top of Android. Okay. So those things are there. Even an advanced platform like Zoho does not allow you to go around modifying the basic Android platform, but it allows you to do many other things, and a little more effectively than what App Inventor does. So if there are questions, I'm willing to take up questions.
Question to you is, sir, how program is necessary for the IT students or IoT students?
All right. So if you are already an IT student and you have a background of programming, then what this will do is help you build a foundation in case you want to have the skill of developing an app. So app development in itself is a skill. So that skill you will learn. You will learn how to interface the sensors. You will learn how to capture data from the web, save it on the web, and so on and so forth, as well as on the device itself. So that is what that's why it is definitely good if you are an IT student and you want to take this course. It will be a good idea because it will lay the foundation and enable you to make apps. It's not only laying foundation, you can make your own app and publish. All that can happen. But as I said, if your app starts getting too many users, then managing the memory, managing the other things. For that, you need some help, and that is when you want to go to a professional to develop it. But by that time, you've already collected enough money to have done something.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
यो कोर्स गर्नुभन्दा पहिला चाहिँ हामीले प्रोग्रामिङ सिकेको हुनुपर्ने हुन्छ कि नसिकेको भए पनि पुग्छ होला?
प्रोग्रामिङ सिक्न परेन, तपाईहरुलाई अगाडि नै भनिसके तपाईहरुलाई प्रोग्रामिङको नलेज चाहिएन, यसमा बेसिक देखि नै ब्लक कोडिङबाटै तपाईहरुले गर्न सक्नुहुन्छ।
अनि सर हामीले यदि यो पढिसकेपछि यो कोर्स बिगिनर कोर्स चाहिँ गरिसकेपछि हामीले चाहिँ यो कसरी चाहिँ कुन सफ्टवेयर युज गरिकन हामीले यो एप बनाउन सक्छौं वा कुन एपको मद्दतले हामीले यो कुनै एप बनाउन सक्छौं, त्यो कुराले विस्तृत रूपमा भनिदिनु।
App Inventor 2. It's MIT App Inventor 2.
बुझ्नु भयो तपाईले?
हजुर सर।
ओके।
Put in the chat if you want.
रोहन।
सर।
निहारिका प्लिज।
सर यो कोर्स चाहिँ हामी बिगिनरहरुलाई बेसिक देखि नै सिकाउनुहुन्छ हो?
हजुर हजुर, बेसिक देखि नै हुन्छ। अघि नै हजुरलाई त्यहाँनेर गरिसक्नु भएको छ, बिगिनर देखि नै हुन्छ।
प्रोग्रामिङहरु इन्क्लुड हुन्छ हुँदैन यसमा?
हुन्छ हुन्छ। प्रोग्रामिङ त तपाईको एडभान्स लेभलमा आयो, बिगिनरमै चाहिँ तपाईहरुलाई हुँदैन नि त।
सर अनि कस्ट चाहिँ कति हो यसको, यो कोर्सको?
कस्टको बिगिनर लेभलमा तपाईहरुलाई 15,000 लाग्छ। त्यसमा सफ्टवेयर पनि हुन्छ, सफ्टवेयर पनि हामीले प्रोवाइड गर्छौं इन्क्लुडिङ सफ्टवेयर।
यस सर। सर यो 50 आवर्स को भनेको बिगिनरहरुलाई पनि 50 आवर्स?
30 आवर्स, 30 आवर्स, 60 आवर्स। बिगिनर लेभल 30 आवर्स, एडभान्स लेभल 30 आवर्स, टोटल 60 आवर्स।
ए ओके सर, थ्यांक यू सर।
ओके। आदित्य।
Hello sir, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Sir, I wanted to know if we can actually use the turn on and off of some physical mechanism like compressor, agitator using app mechanism.
What is the question? You want to use it? You want to use it where?
In a machines, like simple, like a machine which is used like.
Oh yes. You can. Yes.
So what kind of sensor do we have to use to turn on and off the agitator, gear motors?
So, one of the best ways of communicating that your phone already has is something called Bluetooth, and from the Bluetooth you can code the app to send not only on/off but other regulatory signals to anything which is there. At the other end, you need an interface so that Bluetooth signal is received. After that, you need to have some hardware like a relay or other things just to switch it on and off. And in case you want, for example, compressor car, you want to sense the pressure. So that pressure sensing can also come back to your app, and that app will then take that knowledge and say, okay, now I must run the compressor at so much capacity, or I can save power, and so on and so forth. Right? All that can be done.
In order to make this, is a single person okay, or do we have many of the people are required us to make this?
Only single control.
Sir?
But single person can do it.
So can we make it like after this advanced course?
Yes. You can make it after the basic course also.
Thank you very much, sir.
So.
Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, in future, is there any possibilities to make to control machineries like airplane just with a mobile app?
I'm afraid not, because there are a lot of safety regulations. So if you are looking at controlling, let's say, an aeroplane or a fighter jet with a mobile app, no, it's not going to happen because of safety regulations, right? Secondly, the number of parameters required for that is large. Now, that said, if you have your own drone, for example, if you have a small drone and you want to complete the, control the drone using an app that you have built out here, yes, you can do that. But then you will have to build the interface of the drone with this. The app will only process what you're giving it. तो मोबाइल फोन वहाँ चल के नहीं जाएगा उसको चेंज करने के लिए. मोबाइल फोन मैसेज देगा. वो मैसेज जो है either through Bluetooth or through GSM or whatever, it will give a message, and that message has to be then translated into something that that your drone will do. So yes, controlling of civilian drones, which is in your control, possible. Controlling of aircraft, as you asked, using a mobile app, no, that's not possible.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me, sir. After completion of this course, which types of app we will be able to make?
Okay, so when I gave you my thing, I said there are 5 major types of applications. With this, you can make lifestyle apps, you can make navigation apps, you can make news or information or information processing apps, you can make business apps, you can make a few utility apps. Okay, you cannot make all kinds of utility apps, but yes, you can make a few utility apps which are dealing with, say, major parts of your phone, say power savings and other stuff which is there. But usually, when you buy a phone, a smartphone, most of the utility already comes with it. If you want to build your thing to do something special, so you want it to say, for example, if the light is below something, you want the torch to automatically come on and do all those kind of things. Yes, you can build those apps.
Sir, if we can make the app after completion of this course, then why there is a need to study software engineers and so on?
Yeah, very good question. So what app you build with here? Okay, this app, there are some standards for international apps or for apps which are of high quality. There are some design standards which, if you go to Google, in fact, Google as a company has published those standards. There are some design standards which are there. Using this software, using whatever you're learning out here, you cannot make an app which will meet all the requirements of those design requirements, right? However, you can still make a lot of apps. Can you make a professional app for 1 million people with this? It's difficult, because when you have 1 million users, for instance, the amount of memory management, the amount of web management becomes very complex. Your app may just crash, so you will keep on having crashes. जो क्रैश को अवॉइड कैसे करना है, वो SDK को कैसे प्रोग्राम करना है, how to manage the flow of data, that all comes when you become a software engineer. So just by doing 50 hours of learning out here, yes, you'll be able to make many apps, undoubtedly. But if you think that you can make an app which is, say, as good as whatever TikTok, or I don't know, whatever is popular in your country, or Facebook, for instance, it's not likely. It's not going to happen, because say an app like TikTok or Facebook, it handles so much of data. It's a huge amount of data they handle, and all that handling of data, the intelligent management of that data, all that requires software engineering. उसके बगैर नहीं हो सकता है. तो वो जब आप सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर बनोगे, वो तब आप सीखोगे वो कैसे मैनेज करना है. Okay?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, after the completion of the course, can we publish the app that we made?
Yes, absolutely. You can publish it. What happens is that the software package that on which this MIT App Inventor is already earlier approved only for Android apps, but now they've got limited approval for iOS apps also. So what happens is that when you do that, you can submit it. It goes through a test evaluation process, and if it's okay, then they will put it on the store. So you can publish it. Your app will come on the store.
So can you also teach how to manage after publishing the app?
How to market? No, that's we don't do that as part of this course. How to market your app is something that you have to do. See, when you make an app, जो भी आप चीज बनाते हैं, you have to believe in it, है ना? ये मेरा belief है. I can sell this app. So all that has to come from you, and you have to see for whom you're making it, and how to market it is really not part of this. How to publish it, we will teach you. Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, is our laptop enough for doing this course, or we need another things?
No, your laptop, as long as it's Windows 7 or 10, preferably Windows 10, is good enough. You will need a smartphone, but
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, with the help of your course, can we actually commercialize our products?
yes, you can. So whatever app you build here, you can make a commercialized app. It does not stop you from making a commercialized app. You can make a commercialized app and use it to monetize. You can use a freemium app. Freemium means आप इतना यूज करोगे तो वो फ्री रहेगा. उसके बाद में कुछ फीचर्स ऐसे हैं जिसके लिए आपको पे करना पड़ेगा. All that can be built in.
So hello everyone, namaste. I am Pankaj Sharana, and I am audible to you. Hello everyone.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so since 2012, I'm doing a lot of electronics projects and building many prototypes. And today I'm here to introduce you this course, Internet of Things. So anybody heard about what is Internet of Things? Yes, just write yes or no in the chat. Okay. So first, let's start with the things. So things, in the today's world, there are a lot of technology around us, lot of devices. We are using many home appliances like refrigerators, televisions, coffee makers. So all those sensors are, they are not communicating with each other. But IoT can help us to, to communicate with those devices. So those all devices have different types of senses, like they have sense of smell, sense of vision. Even they can give the temperature. What is the temperature of refrigerator? What are the products available in the refrigerator? What is the stock? So all these, all that information you can get using the IoT devices. So let's see the history. Let's start from the 1990 to 2020. So what happened in the beginning? There are very few devices, like mostly computers, and then at that time we have started with the Gmail, Yahoo Mail, and at that time people are connected with each other using these ways of communication. And even computers are connected with the internet. But nowadays, so this is, you can call that the internet of people. But now we have started calling a new thing, that is the Internet of Things. So what is the Internet of Things? Things means where the things are communicating with each other and with human also. So we are also interacting with the things, like all those appliances, like your fitness band. So what happening, that your data is collected, you can access on the cloud. So all these things are available. So let's see the timeline of Internet of Things. So in the beginning, what happened in early 90s, at that time, mostly government using this technology to track aeroplanes, to track satellites. They're using satellites to track aeroplanes, to track their tracking and all those things. But in the 2000 we have started communicating with the industrial devices like any sensor in the industry, any device in the sensory in the industry, and we can control remotely. And and the industry has also started at the time that they are started collecting data from their machineries. But from the 2010 we have started collecting data from the many more devices like televisions, refrigerators, and some health equipment. So all this is called, the web of devices. So this is called the Internet of Things. So there are a lot of definitions. So these definitions are just based on, and these are based on how the Internet things are connected to each other, based on how they are embedded to each other. And the definitions just evolved in every decade. After 5 years they revise the definitions, because the way we using the technology is fastly changing. So the Internet of Things is also called the Internet of Objects. So it's totally clear that we are talking about the objects, we are talking about the appliances, and all those appliances, they are connected wirelessly, and they self-configured. They can be household devices and all that. So these are the few definitions. And these days you can control your devices using social media also. You know this thing that you can control your home appliances using Facebook. Anyone? Do you know this thing? Hello? Yes, just say yes or no. Hello? Hello, Vandana ma'am. I'm audible to everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Also, students, can you tell me, do you know this thing that can we control home appliances using Facebook? Okay. Okay. So yes, we can control home appliances using social media app also. Facebook provide what you can say API to control these things. So if you see how the power consumption of these devices and the range of the devices vary. So when we use any IoT device using satellite communication or cellular communication, cellular means your mobile phone, GSM. So in that case, we need a lot of data to transmit and receive signals. But with the time, now in the market there are devices like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, Zigbee, and they are all low powered. You don't need more big batteries. You can transmit a lot of data now using mobile phones and very small chips that I want to share with you. That is a Wi-Fi device. So what is happening that what we are doing, we are let's suppose there are millions of devices in the world, and they are all connected to a cloud. Cloud means a website where the whole information is collected. So we have a lot of data, and then that data provides a lot of information which lead us to give a lot of knowledge and wisdom, and which is very useful to human beings, because data is less important to us, but the wisdom and the knowledge with that we can analyze the data, we can take action with using that information, that is very useful to us. So if we see with the population and the devices that in 2003 in the world there are 6.3 billion people, and in the 2020 we have 7.6 billion people. But if you see the devices connected, they are dramatically changed and increased. So in the 2003 we have 500 million people, but in the 2020 there are 50 billion people, sorry, billion devices are there. That means the graph of devices is increasing day by day, and there are a lot of possibility that it will double or triple in next decade. So that means there are a lot of career opportunities. So this is the time to learn this technology, because if you start learning this technology, and if you become the you start first runner in your country and start business with the IoT, so it's a good opportunity to you. So there's another study that the comparison of the internet connections and the population. So that the red line shows that the internet connections. So from the 1995 to 2020, there are a lot of rise in the internet connections. That means now a lot of people, lot of homes, a lot of offices are connected to the internet, and that means now there is a possibility to install and connect all the devices in that office, in that home, with the internet. So we can connect all those with the internet. We can get data from them, those devices. So why internet things is required? So dynamic control of the industry and daily life. Why we need, we are using internet devices in the industry to ease of technology, to reduce the human resource. If someone go to the industry, go to the machine and getting the data manually, it's a very long process, but getting data automatically on the device through internet is very easy. And also it also helps us to reduce the energy consumption in the industry. Same, the next thing, improve the resource utilization. The same thing I explained in the previous point. And the better relationship and between the human and nature. So what we can do, we can do disaster management using the IoT devices. Nepal is mostly hilly area, and there are lot of landslides. So what you can do, you can use these devices, you can install these devices on the hillside, and you can get information that whether is there possibility of their landslide or not, right? So forming the intellectual entity by integrating the human society with the physical. Yes, right now what we are doing, we are connecting people to the devices. We are connecting human to the physical world, to the materialistic world using this technology. Business perspective of the IoT. So here you see, in the when the first mobile came, so mobile cost was, that time the mobile cost is higher if we see the features in that. But if you compare devices after 2005 and now, so every smart devices, there's a cost of smart devices or just raised because of internet in those devices. We are using multiple products within the mobile. Mobile is also a product, but there are multiple apps. You are paying for app. You are paying for many services through your mobile phone. So this is the value chain of IoT. That means, what is required to build the IoT system. We need radios. That means a device which connect wirelessly to each other. We need sensors which can sense the data. We need microcontrollers. Microcontroller is a brain which can process the data. Modules, platform software. Platform software means some softwares like to develop the system, and some cloud where you can, through which you can interface your devices, and you can control your devices from remote. You can access your devices remotely. So the application software, airtime, and services. So applications of the IoT. So here we will discuss few applications in detail, and after that we will show you a real-time application that we have installed in our office. So IoT, you can implement IoT for the customers, like for the homes. You can make smart homes. You can implement. The retail sector is also sector where you can implement IoT. Retail means you can there you can purchase and sell things. You can the medical field, military, for the military, it's very useful to the military also. Industrial, already discussed. Automobile, in the automobile also, you know, these days the bikes are coming that when if the bike is stolen, that you can track your bike where it is. The GPS tracking, that is also a part of IoT. Environmental study, you know, if you are studying environment, what is the what's the weather, so weather monitoring, that all comes under the environmental study, and you can implement IoT there. Agriculture, these days you can implement sensors on the field. You can collect the data like humidity, soil moisture, what is the pH value of the soil, and you can collect that data on the cloud, and there you can implement like algorithm, like advanced algorithm or AI to judge what kind of fertilizer is required, what kind of is there a need of irrigation or not. So all that steps can you take if you implement this thing. So in the home automation, automation, there many devices like your mobile phone, tablets, car garage, shutter, your geyser, your coffee machine, refrigerator, all those things you can control using your mobile phone, using your laptop, using your tablet remotely, or within the home you can control using an internet connection. Similarly, in the shopping area, you can you know, the devices in the future, the devices itself give all information about what is in that box, which is the what is the name of the manufacturer, what is the application of that thing. So this will become more user friendly to the customer. And then the payment, when you are paying something, you can there are like your you can use RFID tags to detect the product in the, you know, in the gate, and you can there are microchip, and the credit cards will communicate with the checkout and readers. So you can make payments remotely. These days a new concept that IOTA or MyOTA is a currency, a new currency which you can implement in the IoT system, and the devices itself start paying each other using that technology. Let's suppose there is a let's suppose some vegetables are not in the your fridge, so fridge automatically can order vegetables from the supermarket, and the courier boy just deliver those things to your fridge, and fridge itself made payments to that company. Second scenario, health sector. So we have seen during this COVID time, there's a need to monitor patients from homes because there's no space, there's no beds in the hospitals. So we can make that system. We can implement sensors, oxygen sensors, SpO2 sensors. So and we can collect data remotely. So it's a very useful thing in the medical industry. Okay, so in the transport sector also, we can transport the way of the track of the trucks and any vehicle, and we can right now these days we are using many web apps or technology like, you know, the Uber and Ola. So what they are doing, they are actually managing the traffic. If the traffic is higher, they are just suggesting us to take another route where the less traffic. So this is how we can optimize the traffic and which is very useful to the humanity. So this is the three categories of the industries which are working right now. So few industries are just doing R&D in the IoT, and they are developing new technologies of IoT. Second one is the production industry. They are using that technology and producing some product. They are embedding all those technologies in their products. And third industry, which is totally taking help of IoT to run their businesses, like McDonald's. So McDonald's is also using the taking the help of IoT. Like they are, let's suppose they are sending a guy to the remote delivery, so they can track when he started his journey and when he dropped his courier. Next, so sir, we need to show.
I'll go there.
Yeah.
Now you have to
Pin.
you can, but
So please everyone just go to the Aditya sir's video. We will show you the real life example of IoT. Okay, so this one is now. So this is Aditya Bhatnagar video. Please go to there, and we will show you. So this is a very small incubator where we are growing some plants, and we are making this whole project to help COVID patients after when they relieved from the hospitals. Then they need enriched oxygen. So we are experimenting on the plants. We have embedded many sensors in this embedded system. So we are collecting data using oxygen sensors, because we are interested what is the percentage of oxygen after using this. We are using CO2 sensor, because CO2 is also need to monitor, and we are using temperature sensors, humidity sensors, oil moisture. All this data is we are collecting from here, and we are sending to our cloud. So okay, so sir, light is not there. Okay, sir. No. So I will come for there. So everyone, please wait and see.
all right. So as you can see out here, there is this is the whole setup, right? There are some sensors out here. You can see there are some sensors out here. All these sensors are getting connected to they're getting connected to a module out here. All right, and here you can see there's an air pump, and all those kind of things are there. This is where the entire the IoT is being captured from here. These are the sensors taking it out, and we will now show you. Now we will show you how from a little distance you can see. So quite a big structure. So this is the physical part of it. So there's a lot of data being collected from here, and now Pankaj will show you where that data is going. And Pankaj, you can just log on to your
Yes,
OpsDepot.
So everyone here, we are on this website, ThinkSpeaks, and we are going to use this website to interface our devices during this course. And here we have, see, our project name is the Oxycode. You can access search on this website if you go to the ThinkSpeaks.com and just search Oxycode. So you can see this these sensors data, and this and all these sensors are live 24 hours. So this one is the oxygen sensor. See where it's giving the data related to oxygen. This one is a CO2 sensor, and see just data has uploaded to this. This is the temperature sensor. This is the moisture in soil moisture, and here the light intensity of the light source we use that we are using to provide light to the plants. So here's the data of the lights. Actually, it's for giving the luminance of the light, sharpness of the light, and okay. So I'm going to stop here this thing, and I'm also going to upload this link in the chat if possible. So you can right now you can access this website and see the data on your screen. So only few things are left. So there are few challenges related to IoT. So one thing is the technical standardization. So a lot of companies are developing these products, and there are lack of standardization at present. But a lot of work is happening. Second thing is the managing and fostering the rapid innovation in the challenge to the government, because the technology is changing very fast. So it's very difficult to the government to keep track and make policies with the technology, with the pace of the technology. And third thing is the privacy and security. Yes, we can make secure devices, but hackers can hack if you are not using proper protocols and right way of programming. You need to implement all security things. Third is the absence of governance. So actually, it's there's no central authority who is controlling this technology. Everyone is using this technology, and it's free to use. And yes, there's a vulnerability to internet attacks. That's because of hackers. Third thing is the future scope of IoT. So we can solve traffic issues, we can increase production, we can improve logistics, retailing, resource and power control. You can, using IoT these days, the electricity boards are using IoT technology to switch on, switch off lights for the particular area they are controlling this. And we can also make some comfortable lifestyle using IoT. So we are offering two different courses. If one is the Arduino embedded system and second is the IoT foundation course. So IoT, if IoT embedded system actually, this course actually completely related to the embedded system, where you embedded some electronic sensors, some electronic hardware with your Arduino platform, and you will learn C and C++ programming. But if you know how to use devices like this, like Arduino, and if you know how to use device like this Arduino Uno, and C programming and C++, so you can directly jump to the IoT course. But if you are not familiar with these things, how to interface sensors, all that, so you have to first do the Arduino embedded system course. Okay, so but we will do in the course actually. So first first let me show you what we will do this in this course. mostly we will use this board. This is the Arduino Uno board and most popular board, and this is a user-friendly board. You don't need soldering for this. So we will learn using interfacing some sensors like PIR sensors. This sensor does that. This sensor actually detects the presence of humans and animals. All living things you can detect from 50 to 30 meters. Second thing, you can interface IR sensor to the obstacle sensing. You can interface humidity and temperature sensors with these boards. You can use color sensors. These are the vibration sensors. And these are the motor drivers. You know, we will teach you in this course how to control different types of motors. So this one is the DC geared motor, high torque motor, and so we will learn how to use this and how to control this using this shield. So every motor required a motor driver. So and it's a for different motor we need different type of drivers. So this one we use for stepper motor. So we will use for high precision we use stepper motor, and if you control any object with a particular angle, so we will use servo motors, right? So we also learn how to use relays. So how to switch high voltage and high current devices using this relays. So all these things we will complete in the Arduino. We will learn how to display data on LCDs, liquid crystal displays, how to interface sensors. All these things are going to happen in the Arduino embedded system course. And this course will be of 25 sessions, and IoT foundation course will also take 25 to 26 sessions. So in the IoT foundation course, we learn what we learn. We will learn first that we will small electrical hardware interfacing, and this will be the main board for this purpose. So this is the Arduino sorry, not Arduino, but Node MCU, and later I will explain what is this. So second thing, we will learn various internet topologies. Okay, please don't do this on screen. And we will learn how to make a network of sensors. You know, we cannot do this thing that we can connect every device to the cloud and we are sending data. But we will do first all these devices communicate with each other, and the information they collect we will upload to the website. I'm going to use keyword website, not cloud. Maybe you are not familiar with that. Second thing is the IoT protocols. There are a few protocols, methods to send data to the cloud, like the MQTT and TCP. So we will discuss and study and implement these protocols in this course. So what are the basic requirements? So for the Arduino embedded system, this course will for absolute beginners, those who don't know how to use Arduino and microcontroller, so they can start with the Arduino embedded system course, and you will require a hardware kit which will include some LCDs, some Arduino boards, batteries, connectors, and USB cables. And for the IoT course, you must have knowledge of Arduino programming. Okay, if you know how to use program Arduino, if you know how to write code in the C and C++, then you can start with the IoT foundation course. And in this course, what you will require complete kit that we use in the Arduino embedded system. You need all this hardware for this course. Okay, and plus you will require at least four node MCUs. So Node MCU, this one the Node MCU board, and this board is designed by a Chinese company, Aspirasive Systems, and there are different versions of this hardware, like ESP826601, ESP82612E. So this one actually this the main chip on this board, and this on on same board we have microcontroller as well as a Wi-Fi chip that you can use to connect with the Wi-Fi or any internet system like your hotspot of your mobile phone. So this device can connect to the hotspot of your mobile phone, and then whatever you connect, whatever sensor or thing you connect with this device, it will collect data from this sensor and upload to the cloud, like as we are doing in our project. So here, thank you everyone, and now you can ask questions. KV sir, now we can unmute everyone.